Mary Ellen Iskenderian, CEO of the Women's Bank, the largest network of microfinance institutions and banks. Thank you so much for being with us at the Capacity for the platform, and thanks a lot for your time.
No, thank you, and thank you for your kind words.
Mrs. Iskenderian, you have dedicated almost all your life to bring financial services offering to women across the globe. Why is it so important to pose women entrepreneurs at the core of finance and investments?
It's a wonderful question, because we are in an environment now, a global environment now, where global growth is maybe, if we're lucky, going to be at 3%. When we know that if the potential that lies with women and women-owned businesses could really be unleashed, we could see growth rates in the developed economies anywhere from 6 to 9% higher, and in some of the emerging markets, we're talking about 10, 15, 20% higher. McKinsey did a wonderful piece of work a few years ago that said if women had the same access as men to finance, to technology, to all the economic inputs, we would be looking at $28 trillion additional annual GDP growth globally. That's more than the GDPs of the United States and China combined. And women-owned businesses are the least well-served by the financial services industry. So it's the area with the most potential. So why not dedicate our work to making sure that they get that access?
Can you tell us more about this EU blending partnership with the Women's World Banking, please?
This has been really a game changer for Women's World Banking. About 8 years ago, we made the decision to no longer be just a technical assistance provider to financial institutions, but also an investor. And we have found that our impact, really with that combination of being at the board table, at the shareholder assembly, pushing management to make change both in terms of diversity within the institution and to increasing its outreach to women clients, has been so much more powerful as an investor. And so we had one $50 million fund that invested in 10 institutions. We were thrilled with some of the results. But with this EU blending facility, we are now able to go after a second, much larger fund. And by providing that blended finance, that risk mitigation capital, we're hoping to bring more private sector investors in. We're also hoping to go into maybe earlier stage companies, less mature fintech companies that can have wonderful solutions for women entrepreneurs, but are a little riskier, a little earlier stage companies. We're hoping to go into countries that might be post-conflict or less developed countries. But having this risk protection allows us to expand from our initial investing opportunities.
Can you tell us more about the work of your institution with regard to gender inclusive finance? Are there any case stories you would like to share with our audience?
And one of the stories I love to tell is a Pakistani mobile network operator, largest in the country, big mobile wallet product, and they only had 12% women clients. And they brought us in because they thought they needed a women's product. But when we looked at their data, we found that those 12% were using the same products men were using, at the same volume men were using them, and at the same level of profitability. So they didn't need a new product. What they needed was a new way to attract women clients. Because the way they were doing that up till now was making, in Pakistan, making the woman go to a shop owner. 97% of their agents were men. So making them go to a male shop owner, and if she was brave enough to go into that male-owned shop, she then had to give them her cell phone number, which just wasn't happening in Pakistan. So we were so fortunate that Unilever had established a nationwide network of women shop owners. We trained them to become mobile money providers. So it was a win-win. They were bringing more revenue into their business. They were already trusted members of the village, so women were comfortable transacting. Within 1 year, we increased the number of agents that were women to 49%, and the client base, women client base, went from 12% to 20%. I think the exciting opportunity for the private sector to look at this market that has so much potential that's untapped is really where it's at.
Some reports are saying that it will take us hundreds of years to become 100% equal. How long are we going to wait? How do you see the challenges that we have ahead?
No, I have to say every year when the World Economic Forum publishes their gender gap report, it is very depressing sometimes. We've seen the gender gap in health and education almost close entirely, which is hugely exciting. So we know that progress is possible. I think the third thing that's really exciting is that the gap in political participation in absolute terms is wider, but it's closing at a very rapid pace. The really hard one, and this is because where there's money, there's power. The really hard one is economic participation. And so I'm very heartened that as more women, in the next 20 years, women will control more than half of the wealth that's created in the world. So as women become more vocal participants in the economy, they can push for faster change. Because we don't have 170 years to wait to close that kind of gap.
Marielle Iskenderian, CEO of the Women World Banking, thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
thank you so much for your work and your commitment.
Wonderful.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.